Hey, what's up everyone? I hope you're all having a wonderful time. Here I have the gas grenade Gemling Legionnaire, and this is what I've been starting out for the release of PvE2, and it's been an absolute blast playing it. And this is still in progress, but I'd like to share with you what I've been doing so far, and maybe it's going to help you out if you want to try it out for yourself. My character at the moment is level 82, and the footage that you see in the background here is from doing tier 10 maps, and overall it's just been really smooth experience playing this. Even the leveling was not too bad either. But let's start going over some of the basics here, how the build works, and later on in the video we can look more on the specifics. The build uses grenades that will detonate and deal tons of damage. I've been doing crit as well for this setup, and it's been a bit of a struggle to get those crit numbers up, as the crossbow only have 5% crit base, which is kinda low if you compare it to many of the other weapons. But it's absolutely doable, and you can also play this without doing a crit version as well, so do keep that in mind. When playing this you have rotate your abilities, or in this case grenades, and if you've been playing PvE1 it's a kinda new way of playing. You have some pros and cons with this. Biggest con is that it's going to be a small delay dealing damage most of the times. And in some cases it's also hard hitting enemies if they are really fast, but we do have some counters for that, which we'll go over more in just a moment here. But we do get a lot of pros here as well. And best one is going to be that you can pre-shoot your grenades for bosses or essence monster, as an example, before you start the fight. And we do also have huge AoE as well, which really helps clearing your maps. The main ability we're using is a gas grenade, and it's release poison clouds that will expand and will then also explode, dealing fire damage when we detonate them. And there's some different ways to make that happen. The main ability that we are using here is explosive grenades, and not only does it deal a lot of damage, but this also trigger the poison clouds for a extra explosion basically. Very good to use, as you can stay on a safe distance, and you can even shoot ahead of you as well. And when you get into the playstyle you will also start to predict where the enemies is going to be, so you can start to throw the grenades in front of the monster instead. As long as the enemies is ignited, you can just spam your gas grenades basically, and it will trigger the explosions from that, so you don't always have to shoot like one gas grenade and then one explosion grenade for it to trigger. The other ability to trigger the poison clouds is going to be Flame Wall, and this have a guaranteed ignite to close enemies to it, and it will stay up for a short duration. And this was something I was using most of the time on lower maps, and even on the campaign when I was playing it. And if you get some cost speed on it, it almost feels like it's instant cost, and it's just great to use if you are overrun by monsters and you want a quick detonation that you can use this ability instead of the explosive grenades. And this is also very good to use while doing like breach or rituals at the end game here, as most of the time it will just overrun you with monsters very quickly, and you can then focus on shooting out gas grenades for fast and instant damage basically. Explosive shot is another alternative that you can use to trigger the gas, but I don't really feel that we need it for this setup. We also have some utility grenades that we are using here. Oil grenade can be used to slow down enemies, but it will also apply fire exposure to enemies, which lower the fire resist and make us deal more damage from the explosions. And if you throw grenades on the enemy, it will shatter and the effect will apply right away, so not only the oil that hits on the ground that will get the effect here, which is a kinda cool mechanic I feel. Another one is Flash Grenade, and this one is used to stun and also blind enemies. And this do have quite a short fuse time here, so it's really nice to have it. It almost feels like an instant detonation, but yeah, if you get stuck, this really helps out a lot. And it's also really nice to use this combined in the rotation here between the gas and explosive grenades. cooldown recovery is something that you really want to grab for this build, as it makes the reload time on the grenades go faster. And for this setup I'm going here is going to be with the big damage for the cost of attack speed, so we are shooting quite slow, but this is also something that you want to try and balance on this build. You don't want to end up with too much attack speed, so the fuses of the grenade are always on a cooldown basically. So let's take a look on our passive skill tree, and let's start by the grenade nodes. The first one is going to be down here, cluster bomb, increase grenade fuse duration, but we fire one additional projectile, which is really nice for DPS. And then also Grenadier for +1 to cooldown use. We have one extra cooldown. And then here, volatile grenades reduce grenade fuse duration, so that the grenades will just deploy or explode faster. And the last one that we have is all the down at the bottom here. Repeated explosive makes the grenade have a 50% chance to activate a second time. And with this trigger, it's a huge damage multiplier for the skill. We do have a support gem that do something similar to this, so this is quite nice to have. And then we have this wheel right here, and this is going to be for two-handed weapon damage. And as we are using a crossbow, these count as a two-hander, so we absolutely want to go for these ones here. And then we also are using crit. If we go back down here, we have power shot. This reduced the attack speed with crossbows by a ton, 15%, but we get the 80% increased critical damage bonus with crossbow, which is just insane. We also have some crit notes here, tainted strike, crit chance, more crit chance, some attack speed. Over here we are passing through here. Something that you also can pass through is going to be this wheel here, if you're having trouble with single target on bosses, for example. Also works with rares. Iron Reflex is something that I'm using, converts all evasion rating to armor. Really nice to have that extra armor, I feel. It do happen sometimes you get overthrown by enemies, and if you don't have armor, then you're just screwed basically. So Iron Reflex converts all evasion rating to armor, and it also gives us the ability so we can have like hybrid gear like these, armor evasion, right? Really nice. We're going for area of effect here with some cooldown recovery and just increase attack area damage, which also applies to our damage, right? If you take a look down here, we are passing through here to pick up the max resistance. Unnatural resilience is something that gave us 2% to maximum fire resist for each 40% uncapped fire resist. So if we take a look here, we are at 90% fire resist right now. We are 80 cold and 80 lightning. The Gemling Legionnaire, we get some extra to max elemental resistance, and this also makes it so we get even more, right? So 40% of uncapped fire resist, we have 121 here, so that's going to be 43 times over 0%. And this node here gives us 6% to maximum fire resistance. And we also get some maximum resist from our Yules as well. We have one with fire here. We have another one with cold right here. Let's see, this one gives fire. And then we have a fourth one with lightning. And if we go up a bit, we have another critical strike cluster up here. Damage and crit chance. Also, this wheel here is just for a lot of damage. Crossing Verdict reduce attack speed, but helps with increased stun build-up, and also attack damage 50%, which is just huge. But we do get less attack speed. And at this wheel here, we have increased damage with two-hander once again. Some more damage, increased stun build-up, but reduced attack speed. So we have quite a bit of reduced attack speed, as I mentioned at the start of the video. And we went with these notes here for some extra armor. This one here, 50% of the base armor from equip also adds to stun threshold, so we don't get stunned as much, which really helps out. And also this one here, blade catcher, will defend with 200% of armor against critical hits, so we do take some less damage from crits basically. And I just went with these notes here for some extra strength, because we are struggling a little bit with attributes. But yeah, that's basically the tree for now. Something that I'm going to go for later is going to be these notes here. For the damage penetration here, 15% fire resist is going to help a lot. You could also go with these over here, and that's going to be armor basically. These here, you get some stun threshold here, and this also give you some stats, armor, and also even more reduction to crit damage, right? So I feel that this is going to be really worth taking. While leveling and doing early maps, I had these notes also. So you basically get movement speed, and you also get some attack speed if you killed recently, just to speed up the process while doing the maps, early maps. And for Ascendancy we go with the Gemling Legionnaire, and basically I didn't really know what I were going to start with when I was jumping into Path of Exile, so I just thought this Ascendancy looked really cool, and it gave a lot of option really to play basically whatever you want. And what I've done here is I went with crystalline potential, and this just gives us a quality of all skills. For the gas grenade, it makes the gas just expand even more, so more area of effect there. And for most of the other grenade skill, this also gives you cooldown recovery. And so yeah, really nice to have. We get the 2 additional here. So then we're also using integrate efficiency for 3 additional skill slots, and then we are using thaumaturgical infusion, and here is where we get our maximum resist for all the elemental ones, or some of it at least. But we get max cold, fire, and lightning from this. You get cold resist from equipping blue support gems, and fire for red ones, and lightning for the green ones. So it's 1 to max per 4 support gems. And if we take a look on our skills here, I am still lacking some spots here, so we do have some that we can't fill in for even more maximum resist. And yeah, I just been really struggling actually to get the support skills. I'm not sure if I'm just doing wrong, but yeah, no RNG of getting that much. And yeah, we just keep grinding, I guess. And what I also want to do later on is to respec from this one and then put it in gem studded instead. And this makes us so we can use 2 copies of the same support gem in different skill, making this really awesome, because it's going to be the only Ascendancy that can do so. And there are a lot of support gems that synergize really well with the grenades here. So this is something that I'm going to look into more once I have more support gems. And if we take a look on our items here, let's start with the weapon. We are using a crossbow, and you want to focus on getting as much physical damage as you possibly can. And also, if you are going with the crit version, you also want to get the base crit here as well, boosting those numbers up. And by default, the crossbow have 5%. I managed to get one with 8.5, so it really helps out scaling your crit. And you want to go with physical damage. You can scale your other grenades. You have explosive grenade, for example, here, which converts 80% of physical damage to fire. So yeah, really good. So we get some combination for both grenades here, basically. Now, I don't have the ideal crossbow base here, and you do have one that's a lot better, and that's going to be the bombard base. Here you get the grenade skills fire a additional projectile, so this is just a huge damage multiplier overall. So if you are going to try and craft one for yourself, go for this base and also the expert version of the weapon, right? And to scale crit even more, you can get some mods on the helm. Here we have critical hit chance. You can also get it on your amulet as well here. And on this amulet I also have a Anoint, sturdy metal, and that's going to be this node up here. And this makes it so we get increased armor from our equipped body armor. Now, if you take a look here you want to get a body armor with as much armor as you possibly can. I got one decent here with over 1k, and you also want to go for resist for basically all of your gear, right? But yeah, your body armor really important that you get flat armor if you are going with that Anoint here. I've seen some body armors have over 2.5k armor, which is just insane. So that's something that you can really start to aim for. If you take a look on our rings, just life, dexterity, stats, resist, and rarity is really good also, it seems right now. Yeah, accuracy if you are lacking some. And here I also have leech a % of physical attack damage as a mana, and this is really huge while playing around here. It really helps you keep up your mana, and it might be a bit struggling if you don't have this node. Highly recommend you get one, or try to get one at least. But yeah, overall you get health, you get attributes, resist, and yeah, that's basically it. But other than that, try to go for the right bases also. You want a hybrid base, armor, evasion. You could also go with evasion or just armor also. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, try to get that so you can take advantage of the iron reflexes basically. If you can get some added flat damage as well, really great. On the gloves you can also get a crit damage bonus, and you can also have attack speed on the gloves as well. But I'm really struggling of getting my resists up. I'm still not chaos capped, so yeah, I have still a little bit to go there. But yeah, that's something that you can at least look for. For the flask, just the normal ones, increased amount recovery with increased charges gain. Same going to be for the mana. And for the charm, we're using this one, and this grants us immunity to freeze. So yeah, really nice survival thing to have here for our charm. And let's go over our skills real quick here, and you can just ignore the first row here. That's only going to help us boost up our max resist basically. Started with gas grenade, and here fire infusion, more damage basically. Ingenience for increased cooldown recovery. Shadow shot, 2 additional projectile, really huge. And also payload, and this is really nice to have, and this makes the grenades fire by supported skills have 50% chance of activating a second time, and this with same as repeating explosion as mentioned earlier, 15% from this one. Really nice to have here. More clouds, more explosions, more shotguns basically. And yeah, fire grenade. Here you have some consecrated effect, more area damage, primal armament for more weapon damage, elemental focus, more elemental damage, and martial tempo for more attack speed, so you can shoot out faster. Oil grenade, maim. What do maim do? Maim enemy suffer from 30% slower movement speed and also reduced evasion rating. So you get slow from that, we have slow from the oil grenade, and we have magnified effect, so we get bigger area. Encumbrance just boost the slow magnitude from the skill, so bigger slows basically. And yeah, exposure giving stronger with strip away. We also apply exposure as mentioned from this, lowering a total of 20%. And this boost is by 30%. Flash grenade, stun and blind enemies, and here I went with attack gain a 30% of damage as extra fire damage, so more damage with this skill. And then we also have overpowered, this just makes us stun more. Ruthless for even more stun every 5th attack that we use this. and Soul Thief. Here's a big one. Soul Thief is for mana leech as well, so if you do lack the node on the ring, this is truly recommended that you are using. And yeah, 5% of physical attack damage leech for this skill, and this you can jump around with if you want to put it on something else, but I think Flash Grenade works really great with this. Flame Wall. Flame Wall is to trigger the gas if we need. More cost speed with Arcane Tempo. We have Fortress, and this makes it so we get a circle instead of a straight line. Just bigger area coverage basically. And also Persistent. Support the skill at 40% skill effect duration. It just stays up longer basically with the ignites. And yeah, something that we didn't mention at the start is Artillery Ballista. So this is something that's been using a little bit from time to time, mostly for bosses, but we use this as a buff stick basically. So we have Font of Rage, and this gives us rage when we are standing close to the totem. And yeah, rage gives us attack damage, so yes, more damage by standing close to it. And we also have Font of Mana, which gives us some mana regen also. The thing that I feel with Artillery Ballista, is that it dies really fast. So this is usually something that you want to use like at the start of a boss fight or something like that, so you can ramp up some damage at start. But yeah, I still use these though. We still get max resist by just having more support gems, right? Herald of Ash is something that I don't use anymore. I used it at the start when I was playing. You get base ignite damage of 20% of overkill damage. So just it's like an ignite spread basically when you overkill something. And yeah, I went with attrition after, and this makes us give us a culling strike against rares and unique enemies, and you also deal more damage each second you've been present of a rare or unique mob, up to 57%, so a more damage multiplier for boss fights basically. And yeah, I don't really have the spirits right now to put any supports on this, but some to use is Clarity otherwise, mana regen. You also have Vitality, and that's life regen. And Cannibalism is something that's quite nice to also have. You get 4% of life recovery on kill with the supported skill is active. And you also have the accuracy one, is it precision I think it's called, so you get accuracy. It's also something that you can use if you are lacking. Volatile Grenades is something that doesn't have been playing much with, but I've been testing it a little bit, and you build up electrocution with this, and I think you could use this as a secondary stun basically. But yeah, I need to test this more, but yeah, this is something that I'm probably going to use now. It do get a bit harder when you get later into the maps, right? And yeah, mobs stay up for longer, so more stun by this basically. Classic Grenades, also something I doesn't have been using much at all. I don't think it's worth it. Enfeeble though, Curse, this is really nice to have. It makes rares, but also unique monsters deal less damage. So this is something that I've been using on bosses basically only. Just deal less damage. You can also go with the Flammability Curse also, and that's going to reduce fire resist. But yeah, Enfeeble is something I would like to do, less damage, stay up longer. And yeah, just ignore this row here. It's only going to be for giving me support gems and buffing up our max resist basically. Yeah, that's the skills. And as long and when we are going to change to gem studded, this gives us so many more opportunities to play around with. I think the first one is going to be Shadow Shot for explosive grenades, I think. So we get more grenades overall, and also payload is also something you can put on explosive grenades maybe. And yeah, there are a lot of things that you can use here. You can use double of everything, right? So yeah, something that I really need to try out more before I can really go into that. But yeah, going to be interesting, and I'm thinking that it's going to be really strong as well. So what do you think about the Gas Grenade Gemling Legionnaire? Have you tried it out before or tried another version of it? Feel free to tell me in the comments below. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. And with that said, see you in the next one. Bye!